and the third one is called addiction. Okay? Now, addiction is the need to fill a void, because you think you're lacking something, you think something is missing, and so you do everything in your power to fill it. But fill it with what? You see? So you want to fill it with something that's going to make you happy, that's going to make you feel good about yourself, but you don't know what that is. So you become a heavy seeker. And you might seek through sex, you might seek through relationship, you might seek through drugs, you might seek through alcohol, you might seek through work. You see? So you might seek through food. So you do anything that's going to make you feel good. So if, for example, you start having sex and you feel wonderful at that moment, then because it filled an emptiness in you, then you're going to keep seeking it and dreaming about it and masturbating and everything else, because it gives you that moment of fulfillment in that second. Or you turn to drugs or alcohol. Alcohol, for example, when you're drunk, what happens when you're drunk? You're not inhibited, right? You feel free. You feel, I don't care, you know. And so alcoholism gives you that point of feeling good, you see. Now some people turn to food addiction. Yeah.
I think I've experienced addiction, I mean, long ago kind of thing, but not to drugs or alcohol, but maybe just to thinking or
that's good, right?
Pain.
Yeah. Hey, that's very good. You get addicted to negative thinking.
Such a thick mesh.
Yes.
That it darkens.
That's right.
One's outlook.
Right. Yeah. Now the question arises. Now Sylvia just said, I became addicted to negative thoughts, to dark thoughts. Yeah. How is that going to make me feel good? Can somebody tell me?
Because it brings out the story that's creating the sadness, and it keeps her occupied in that sadness.
Very good. And that gives you meaning even though it is sad.
Purpose.
Because you want to identify with something. You see? That's right. So you keep perpetuating that kind of thing, you become addicted to it. As a matter of fact, many of the things that keep repeating over and over again is an addiction. You know, and addiction happens very easily to the mind-body organism because we crave it. For example, let's say I've heard people say, if I get up in the morning and I don't have my coffee, I'll be miserable. You see, addiction. Or I have to have that smoke. I have to have it. See, that's another addiction. So we begin to rely on things to give us something to do, to give us some meaning, some form of whatever you want to call it. You know,
it's structure.
It's just, yeah.
Some artificial structure with which to. It's a house of cards.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But it's the only thing you know, because you do not realize that the very nature of you is infinite. It is real. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot lose. It's lasting. Yeah.
Isn't it also to fill a void because you don't know who you are?
Exactly.
You know that you're whole.
Exactly. Well, that's not the whole point. That starts this. You see, we start out, we don't know we are whole. We don't know we are awareness. We think we are just a memory. And therefore, that starts the sense of lack. The sense of lack brings the sense of separation. The sense of separation brings the need to fill a void, which is addiction. From addiction comes fear. You see? Now, in this case, fear is for no significant reason. You're not afraid of something. You're just fear. There's a fear. Okay? And from this fear, which is always there because something is lacking, leads us to the next one, which is called suspicion. Okay? So we do not trust anymore. We've lost trust, not only in others, but in ourselves. We don't trust anything. You know, people read a beautiful book, and the book talks about wonderful things, realizations. And there is still, oh, how I wish I could be like that. You see? There's no trust that it's talking about you. This is universal. This is not a specific person we're talking about. You see? So there's always that lack of trust. How do I know that this is real? Like I've had some clients, they say that to me, you know, and they says, but how do you know that what you're saying is real? And you cannot prove it. You see, you can only live it. It's just like a person wanting to know everything about love, everything. You know what I'm going to say, but it covers the point. You know, he reads about it, reads poetry, sings songs. All he wants is interested in love. But he doesn't know what love is until he begins to feel love. Until you feel the love in you, until you are in love, so to speak, you don't know what love is. You can talk about ice cream all you want, and you can embellish it and make pictures. Until you taste it, you don't know what ice cream is. So similarly with this, we can talk about it. Everything I'm saying to you is a concept, you see? But hopefully that by going beyond the concept, by going inside yourself through these words, you have a taste, or get to know, or maybe you've already had the taste, and now you want to deepen it, you see? So but it's not something that you can prove. And why? Why can't you prove truth? That's right, because it's obvious. Because it's obvious. Here you are, you're existing. You see, it's obvious. I exist. I am. Can any proof more than that? That is enough. But when you say I am, I exist, you go back to memory. You see, which goofs up the whole game. And this is why it's important to know the difference between awareness and memory. As long as you think you're memory, you're going to be afraid of death. You're going to be afraid of old age, you're going to be afraid of sickness, you're going to be afraid of so many things. You've been afraid of everything, you see? Then the next, I have to look at it because this is freshly given. And the next one is, after suspicion comes, Bhagavan said, it becomes strategic living. Strategic living means, from now on, I'm going to be careful what to say it, how to live. How has Buddha lived? And we try to imitate what we read about. Oh, how did this master, how did this enlightened being lives? How do they act? How do they feel when they have sex or they're going about their business? Are they like normal people? And so you have this strategy in your mind how they're going to be. You have a model of how they're going to be. And so you try to have this strategy. If I act enlightened, I'm going to seem enlightened. I'm going to be enlightened. Not realizing that enlightenment in itself doesn't really exist, because enlightenment means realizing that there's no one but awareness. You see? So no one gets enlightened. That's what enlightenment is. Are you understanding me? Mm-hmm. You see? So it's kind of a tricky here. So realizing that all that there is just awareness. In truth, there is no person. There's only a unique expression of life. No, in the Bible says, you are made in the image of God. And one time a Ku Klux Klan said, yeah, I know, and God is white, you know. And of course they thought about Jesus, you see, being the one God. You know, and they say that Jesus was white. How do we know that Jesus was white? He was from Jerusalem. He's kind of dark, and they make him blonde with blue eyes, and he comes from. So what I mean is that we make things so literal because we want to conform to certain structure. We cannot see things as they are in their simplicity of awareness. There is only awareness, you see, and whoever realizes awareness realizes that they've never been; they just are. Did you see the difference? Yeah, you just are. And in that are-ness, you are at peace. You are. You're just here. You see? And so from that comes true love. True unconditional love. Because whatever happens to you in that state of awareness, you immediately forgive without forgiving. If you catch yourself acting in a way which is not kosher, okay, what happens? So what? It was just an act. But I am. And that I am takes precedence. So the person who's, quote, enlightened is different only in the terms that they are not caught in self-defense. You see? They're not getting hurt about anything personal.